Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. You know who I want to talk about? I want to talk about Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Heels, okay? So bottom line with Bill Belichick, so I'll be real. I think I was maybe in the middle on Bill Belichick. I didn't think, like when he came to college football and he's like, I got the blueprint and we're going to have an NFL-style front office and we're going to use NIL. And I was like, well, you know who else has an NFL-style front office? Ohio State and LSU and Miami and Florida and Alabama and whoever. So I don't think you're reinventing the wheel. All the NIL stuff, great. You know who else has money? Ohio State, LSU, Alabama, Texas, Texas A&M, whoever. But at the same time, I sat there and said, look, it's the ACC. I don't think Bill Belichick has completely lost his fastball. I don't think he's a great offensive coach, but I think he's so good defensively that in most games, I think he'll have a little bit of a schematic advantage and, he'll be able to grind out ugly wins, but 24-16 wins, 20-10 wins like that. And then, oh, by the way, you look at UNC's schedule. You look at the fact that, yes, they play Clemson, but guess what? They don't play SMU. They don't play Louisville. They don't play Florida State. They don't play Miami. I was like, they're going to get 8-9 wins because I think Bill Belichick's going to figure it out. I think he'll be fine. I don't think he'll be great. I do think at some point, you're paying him $10 million a year. He's got to win some big games. He's got to have you in playoff contention. But in year one, it's going to be fine. I bring it up because that was my thought coming in. And I wasn't even negative coming out of week one when they lost to TCU. I said, look, a lot of missed tackles, a lot of whatever, blah, 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 this and that. But what I will say is it continues to get weird, okay? So on Friday, so this was after we did our Thursday show. Thursday's our last show of the week. Friday's kind of a prep day for the weekend. There was a story that came out that Bill Belichick had banned the New England Patriots from the North Carolina football facilities this year. And basically he was saying, you're not welcome, blah, 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 this and that. But I think it was basically an internet rumor. I don't know if it was confirmed by any of the heavy hitters, the Schefters, the whoever's, but it felt like, okay, it's kind of this internet story. Does it really mean anything? What's the big deal? Should we care? Should we not care? Whatever. Well, I bring it up because after the game on Saturday, now to Bill Belichick's credit, North Carolina did get their first win of the Belichick era, 20-3 over Charlotte. Again, not the most inspiring, but listen, credit to them. The defense looked much better. Charlotte is not TCU. They did jump out to a 17-3 lead before cruising to the victory. Holds Charlotte to about, they were great against the run, not so much against the pass, whatever. So they get the win. But after the game, Belichick is asked, hey, what's with this story with the New England Patriots? Is it true? Is it not true? Well, he gave an answer, and he didn't really beat around the bush about whether it's true, whether he banned the New England Patriots or not. Matt, you can play this out.
Comment on that and provide some sort of explanation on that.
Yeah, well, no, it's clear that I'm not welcome there around their facility, and so they're not welcome in ours. Pretty simple.
So Bill Belichick, not afraid to acknowledge, yeah, that report that about the New England Patriots being banned from the North Carolina facilities, absolutely true. I'm not welcome at their facility, so they're not welcome at ours. Listen, I bring it up to say, is this the worst thing that has ever happened in the history of sports? No. But what I do think is that it speaks to me that Bill Belichick, it's not about winning at North Carolina. It's about winning on his terms. I don't think it's the best. And I'm starting to wonder, did I overvalue what Bill Belichick could do at North Carolina? And is this thing going to be a disaster? Okay, so first of all, it's just a bad look banning the New England Patriots from your facility. I understand there's bad blood. I understand you clearly don't like Robert Kraft. We all watched that, Brady roast when they kind of forced you to take a shot with Kraft and nobody wanted to and you didn't want to, but you did it. You were a good trooper. You're a good sport, whatever, okay? I get that things are bad. But ultimately what I will say is at the end of the day, the job of a college football coach, listen, I know we live in this NIL world. I know we live in this portal world. I know we live in a world where there's less kind of, what's the right word? Is that there's just, the relationships aren't what they once were. But at the end of the day, I do still believe that the job of a college football coach is to help better young men. Most of these guys aren't going to play in the NFL. Some of them are, but a lot of them aren't. Can you help them become better men? Can you help them become better people? Can you help prepare them for life? But for the ones that are going to be NFL players, you're doing a disservice to them simply for petty reasons. And so it's clearly not about the players, because if it was about the players, you'd put your ego aside and you'd say, you know what? I hate Robert Kraft. I hate the Patriots. I'm not welcome there. But you know what? It's about Gio Lopez. It's about this guy. It's about that guy. It's about doing what is best for these kids. And we're going to let all 32 teams in because, again, we're trying to claim that we're this futuristic NFL model come to the college level. It's like, well, if you're the futuristic model that's coming to the college level, guess what? You have to be pro-friendly and you have to let teams into your facility. Listen, think about all the great coaches in college football, right? Nick Saban, you can say whatever you want, but nothing is ahead of, I can say whatever you want. He's the greatest coach ever, but nothing's ahead of winning. You know, Nick Saban fired Lane Kiffin a week before the national championship game because he thought he wasn't prepared, because nothing comes before winning. Nothing comes before the team. Nothing comes before the program. You look across the rest of college football. Brian Kelly has had to evolve and adapt, and we think he now has a national championship team. I just bring it up because if you are truly being sincere, it should be about what's best for your players, what's best for your coaches, what's best for the program as a whole. And that's not what Bill Belichick is doing here by banning these scouts from the facility. So it's really bad. It's really ugly. And you know what I think it is? I think it's a metaphor, honestly, for what North Carolina is under Belichick. And again, I say this as somebody who didn't think it was going to be a total train wreck. But listen, isn't it kind of about, again, what I said to lead the segment, that it's about winning, but it's about winning on Bill Belichick's terms, and it's not really about winning if it comes with caveats? But think about it, right? This is a metaphor, because what's going on behind the scenes? We all know the Jordan Hudson situation is weird, okay? And my stance on Jordan Hudson has not changed since the spring. We talked about it then. We'll talk about it now. I don't care who Bill Belichick is dating. Like I said, I said this in the spring, what you do in the comfort of your own home with you and your partner, you know, as long as it's of legal age and nothing illegal's going on, I don't care who you date and what you do and what your motives are, what her motives are. I do not care. But at the same time, when you are the highest paid employee in North Carolina, the highest paid state employee in the state of North Carolina, and she very clearly has a role in your organization, we're allowed to ask questions. And that, to me, is the thing. It's like she clearly has a big say in what goes on. She apparently was doing press conferences for their Hulu documentary or whatever. I don't even know. I'm not watching it, but she was doing press conferences, whatever. You know, she was at the game in a box. Then I saw video of her on the field, like bothering Bill. It's like, what are we doing? You have that. By the way, the coaching staff, I didn't realize quite how nepotistic, I think that's a word, that coaching staff is. Stephen Belichick's there. Listen, I have no problem. Stephen Belichick was a defensive coordinator at Washington last year. Somebody besides Bill Belichick thinks Stephen Belichick can run a defense. But you look at the rest of the staff. You look at who else is on that staff. One, Belichick's other son is on the staff. And then two, you have a bunch of guys from the Patriots that played for Bill Belichick that have no real experience either at the college level or coaching in general. You have a bunch of guys that are family friends. Mike Lombardi's your GM and his son's on staff. His son's a position coach. And I just go back to, again, is it about Bill Belichick winning, or is it about winning on his terms, on his rules, and only if it's under his rules? Is it what is best for the program, or is it what is best for the program given all these caveats for Bill Belichick? So I thought this story was a metaphor. I thought this was a good way to move it forward, because Bill Belichick is not even denying that he's basically barred the New England Patriots from the facility. Insane story. Absolutely insane. Belichick's kind of a train wreck.